Monday, and welcome back to another episode of the Five Tool Baseball Podcast. We're up to episode 47, and we have eclipsed the 14,000 download mark. So thank you very much for tuning into our coverage. Drew, I'm just now thawing out. I can feel my feet again. I can feel my toes again. I can feel my fingers again. First off, shout out to all those Five Tool video guys and everybody around watching games this past weekend and late last week. It's probably the coldest for me watching a baseball game that I've ever been in. Texas played in some cold games, but that's when I retreated to the press box. I didn't have to wear it down there in sub 30 degree temperatures. But this week was tough. It was tough from a scheduling standpoint. It was tough from a playing condition standpoint. It was tough from a coverage standpoint. But we got out and saw a lot of great performances, not just us, but the Five Tool team posted some really fantastic performances from across the state this week. So first off, how are you feeling? You okay? Have you shaken the icicles off? I felt you when you were talking about it last week about filming in that weather. I felt it, that Keller San Antonio Johnson game I was at. I walked into Round Rock and I saw snowflakes and I was like, oh boy, I better buckle up for a day. So how are you feeling coming off of this weekend?
Well, got to see two games on Friday, which was good. Got to see some good games on Friday. Mm-hmm. But towards the end of that Prosper Lovejoy game on Friday afternoon, I had to stop filming. My right hand was frozen. I literally couldn't feel my right hand because I can't, I'm not good enough to do it with a glove on. So I got to take my gloves off. I had the hand warmers. I was warm pretty much everywhere else. I was prepared this time. But man, my right hand was frozen. Jeff was there. Brandon Goins from PBR was there, and his feet were freezing. He went with normal socks. So that was tough. He struggled through it, but made it to the end. But got to see some good teams. I think where I've landed when the weather's that bad, it's really tough to penalize guys for how they play or don't play. And not a lot you can take from the bad performance. But on the other side, if you show up and perform and do something well, that's almost bonus points for those guys. And we saw a couple of performances like that over the weekend.
No, I agree. Yeah. I went into it thinking that don't put too much stock into what you're seeing pitching wise, especially with the radar gun. But if some guy comes out and is absolutely chunking it, that's bonus points in my book, because they're ready. They're obviously capable of probably doing more than they showed you if they're doing that in that sort of temperature.
Right.
But yeah, I kind of, it's the old kind of the Bob Huggins thing about why he recruited Javon Carter at West Virginia. He showed up to an 8 a.m. AAU game. This dude's guarding people full court and getting after them at 8 a.m. If you show up at 11 a.m. and it's freezing out and you're ready to play and you're making things happen, that's extra points in my book, especially from the pitching side. But yeah, it's tough. I saw 2023 Texas Tech commitment Sevy Martinez, left-handed pitcher for San Antonio Johnson, and he was up to 82. And I felt like he was just finding the feel for just the baseball by the third inning. It's so tough to throw in those conditions. But a guy on his team, Ryan Farber, 2023 uncommitted shortstop, switch hitter, came out, great at bat against Zach Erdman, who's a Texas Tech signee from Keller in the 2022 class, left-handed pitcher. Great long at bat that resulted in the base hit. From the right side, he got a hit later in the game from the left side. I heard he hit a homer in the second game from the left side that I wasn't at. So a guy like that, it's okay, I'm starring your name because I know it's miserable out there to be playing, because it's miserable for me to be sitting there. I had 2 pairs of socks on, 4 layers, gloves, and I was still shivering at some points, as I was getting video and holding the gun and stopwatch and everything else. So If you're out there doing your thing in that sort of weather, yeah, it's you get some bonus love from me. And did you see Davenport again? Is that what I saw?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw Davenport.
That guy comes out. He's throwing the heck out of it twice now, in just big time velocity as well.
The difference in that game was Prosper showed up ready to play. Mm-hmm. They were aggressive early, and they scored 3 or 4 in the first against a really good Lovejoy team. Just kind of, before you looked up, they had an inning get away from them. Livingstone hit a couple of guys before he settled in. But man, like after that, he was cruising. And that inning, that half inning, the bottom of the first was the difference in the game.
Yeah.
And it was impressive, the stuff that I saw from both guys. I mean, Davenport was up to 94.
Wow.
He was good. He attacks. I think we had him at 64 pitches in 5 innings. And I don't think he probably threw more than 5 or 6 off-speed pitches, change up or breaking ball. Mm-hmm. But he was just attacking with that fastball. And I mean, that's a really good Lovejoy. I mean, they're loaded.
Yeah.
And I mean, those are 2 top teams in the state, regardless of classification. Prosper 6A and Lovejoy 5A, but Lovejoy is legit. They're the real deal. Got Kyle and Colby Branch, Jack Livingstone, Matt Maynard. They had 2 arms come in after Livingstone to throw an inning apiece that were really good too. Dom DeChant, who's going to SAU, and then also Brant Corley, a lefty, going to Louisiana Monroe. But good stuff. I mean, like for that weather, I mean, you can dream on. They have 3 legitimate pitchers that we saw in that one game, and there's a lot to like on that Lovejoy team. Aiden Smith, Mississippi State 2023 5-tool 55 guy, smashed the ball in the left center gap, and it was ran down on a really good play by Rice commit Jacob Deviney. But man, there's just a bunch of good players in that game. Billings, he threw an inning, got into some trouble, but kind of like we talked about with Marcos Paz last week, he got out of it. It wasn't pretty. Obviously, it was his first official varsity outing in high leverage situation, and gave up a run, but ended up getting out of a bases loaded jam to keep the lead. Obviously it helps throwing to a guy like Easton Carmichael, helps settle him down and everything. But, those 2 teams, Prosper and Lovejoy, have seen Prosper 3 times now, and they're going to have a chance, a chance to go pretty deep, especially when you got guys like Davenport just going out there and, being efficient, throwing hard, good stuff, attacking. He was impressive again. So saw that game. Going back to Livingstone, he was, Temple Junior College commit. He was 89-91 in awful weather. Yeah. I mean, and I played with him, and he reminded me of Tanner Sheppers.
Okay.
I played with Tanner Sheppers.
Was he Fresno?
The year that Fresno State. And that summer that I played with him in Santa Barbara, he was learning to pitch. Mm-hmm. And his velo was a little bit higher than Jack's, but he's, obviously he was older at the time, but there's a lot of similarities. The moving parts look the same. Nothing is straight. I was really impressed with Livingstone. I mean, I think if he can repeat and throw a lot of strikes, he's going to be a nightmare for teams that they go up against this year. But really impressed with him. He's got a chance to be really good. Neither of their Branch brothers, again, they're facing Lucas Davenport in game 1 of the season.
Yeah. Get your hand warmers and get ready for 94.
Exactly. Like you can tell they know what they're doing in the box. Didn't get a lot of action defensively, either one of them. But you can tell that Lovejoy lineup is gonna be a problem in 5A all year long. I really like them, as was impressed with them. And I will toot my own horn a little bit on the ball that Aiden Smith hit. Some of my best camera work ever. Not sure I totally meant to, but I got like the angle I had was like, great swing, crushes it into the gap. And I actually followed the ball and got the catch. So Jeff was proud of me, I think. I think he's still, Yeah. I was, that kind of made my day. But yeah, that was the second game we saw that day. Before that, we started off with Rock Hill and Vista Ridge. Rock Hill, obviously, really good. Uriah Walters, 5-tool 55 on the 23 class, hit a double, played third. Jack Opine, I believe is his name, was playing short. He's a senior, uncommitted guy. He's good, man. He's smooth. And, that gives them a solid left side of the infield. Brett Foss, who had a big year last year, 2022, another uncommitted guy, I believe, started on the mound, just efficient through strikes. Really like the Vista Ridge pitcher, Hank Howard. He was up to 87, big body guy, really good student. Pounded the zone, threw a good breaking ball. I was impressed. I think he's going to have a chance to play at a major D1 school before it's all said and done. And then I also like the catcher from Vista Ridge. I'd actually seen him at the Arizona Fall Classic playing for ABA. He's Seattle commit, Jake Wagner. But he could catch good stuff. Didn't have he took some aggressive swings, nothing to show for it, but you can tell there's some talent there, and he's a good player for sure. Plays for Bandito's scout team. But again, have you ever seen the Rock Hill field on any videos or anything?
Well, I think I've seen a photo.
Okay, so their outfield wall, the pads, has ivy on it. So it's like, it looks like it's an ivied wall, but it's really just like a wrap on the pads, but it looks sweet. It's a cool ballpark. I've never been there before, but yeah, so both of those Prosper fields are really good facilities, and man, that place is booming up there. But yeah, that's what I got from this weekend. Obviously didn't get to see Shores. He may become our white whale. Trying to get out to see him. But he threw. It sounds like he threw. He ended up throwing on Thursday, just out in Midland and not here in town. But sounded like he had a dominant outing.
Yeah, I think I was telling you, like, I was looking at his district schedule, and it's like, okay, there's one that's like 3.5 hours from my house. Like, it just might be like, I'm just determined that to see him at some point. So it's like him, and then down in Corpus, seeing Justin Lampkin at some point. But I know that there are a lot of very sad people when they found out that Chase Shores was not going to be thrown in the DFW area. Speaking of DFW, I got to see Keller. They're playing down here, and just kind of weird circumstances with these tournaments because the weather and everything. And Round Rock and Georgetown were basically like, hey, we're not going to play, but the out of town team, since you're already here, use the field. So Keller is like, hey, we got a bunch of guys that don't really have a lot of varsity experience, and we need to get some innings in. And they put it on San Antonio Johnson pretty good. They came out ready to play, and they jumped all over them. I believe they're winning 10-0 at one point in the fourth inning. But they've got a couple guys at the top of their lineups that are junior outfielders. Jackson Hill and Braden Simmons. Hill played center and Simmons played right. Simmons is also a pitcher as well. Tall guys, both projectable, both can run. I think they've both got a chance to be guys that are going to be recruited at the D1 level. Didn't really put the bat in motion a ton. Some of that was just the pitching that they saw. But both had base hits. Simmons made a fantastic diving catch in right field and foul territory with the bases loaded. Really nice play. Hill covered a lot of ground defensively in center field. They've got a good club. Talking to those coaches before the game, they're kind of like, we like our guys. None of these guys have really played a lot of varsity just because they had such a veteran team last season. But they've got some athleticism at the top of those two guys, and then they've got some physical senior right-handed hitters that are signed in the middle of that lineup, and they've got some arms too. I mean, Zach Erdman leading the way for them, Texas Tech signee in the 22 class. Lefty, he was up to 86, curveball, changeup. You can see that's going to be a 3-pitch mix that's going to cause some problems, definitely for some high school hitters. I've seen video where he's been up in the low 90s, but again, we talk about the weather. It's like, to me, if you're getting to 86, I mean, that's kind of an accomplishment on that day. But The change, it's one of those changeups to where it's almost got kind of like that screwball vibe because of how he turns it over with that kind of that horizontal late break away from his arm side. Curveball's got big shape, kind of more of that 1-7 type shape from the left-handed side, and the fastball as well. So he was definitely intriguing. And then I saw Nick Robb pitch, a junior pitcher that they're excited about, right-hander, was up to 86. Slider had a lot of just very late, sharp break away. Looks like a guy that's definitely going to grow. He's going to grow into his body. I think he's going to throw harder. But that's a team that's got a chance to be really, really good, as they have been in the past. And I think as those guys get more varsity reps, they're going to turn into a club that's probably going to win a lot of games up there. And I mentioned Johnson. You mentioned some 2025 guys earlier. Cayden Cunningham hit leadoff for Johnson. He hit DH, but he plays middle infield. They've got a veteran middle infield. And I've heard his name before. He's kind of one of those guys that, hey, in a 25 class, keep an eye on this guy. And man, it looks like a legit hit tool. Just one of those guys, the way he carries himself in the box, the way he takes pitches and tracks pitches. He's undersized right now, as most 2025 guys are going to be. But he had some bat speed already. He had some feel for hitting already. He got up there against Erdman, left on left matchup, and hit a ball, the ball that Simmons made a catch on in foul territory. It was deep right field in foul territory. So I'm actually going to see those guys again on Tuesday because Mason Bixby is supposed to throw against San Antonio Clark. But man, I like Cayden Cunningham. I think he's got a chance to really, really hit. Mason Cron, 2023. He hit cleanup for them. Physical, good-looking kid, played right field. There's some ability to impact the baseball in there. He's also a guy that pitches as well. I didn't see him on the mound, but you can see the way he throws in the outfield, the way he moves. He's an intriguing two-way talent. And the guy that had hit in fifth was uncommitted 2022, Cayden Wallace. Played center field, had a pretty strong arm, looked like an above average arm, covered some ground out there. He got into the box and had some loud contact off Erdman first at bat. I think that's a guy that, that's a team that's probably going to be tracked and watched a lot just because of the 2023 talent they have and some of those younger guys. I think he could play himself into an opportunity to play in college baseball somewhere. Certainly looked like he was good enough, but I'll see that Johnson team again. It's weird. Like, they've already started district, so they go into these tournaments and it's like it's a different kind of approach. Obviously you don't want to play poorly, they kind of booted the ball around some defensively, but it's also like, hey, we got to keep our arms in shape for getting ready for these Tuesday games that we're already playing in district. So I'm excited to see them again later this week, and which should be a really good matchup with Clark down there in San Antonio.
Yeah, it's funny, like I think a lot of the Dallas and Houston, I feel like, are flipped. Seems like a lot of the Houston arms throw Tuesdays, and the big Dallas arms throw later in the week. I don't know if that's just because of it's tournament season or whatever, but I just feel like they're on different schedules. And I know like all the Dallas schools are playing today, and most of the Houston schools seems like they're playing tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I was trying to piece together the schedule for this week and see what we got.
Good luck.
Yeah. Well, knock on wood, the weather up here at least looks like it's going to be okay. I'm going to be able to, I was mapping out my schedule. I'm going to knock out some big time, some arms this week. I'll get to, luckily, like I said, I'll get to, post up at Rockwall for quite a bit of the week and see a lot of guys. I'll get to see Bridgeland, Wiley, Alito, a couple of the El Paso schools. I think I'm going to try to go see Arlington Martin versus Flower Mound Marcus on Thursday to start it off. Tonight I'm going over to McKinney Boyd to see Abel throw against Rock Hill.
Nice.
So I get to knock him out. Excited to see him. There's a lot to choose from. I'm trying to think.
This weekend's tough. Like there's a big San Antonio tournament, but I've also seen a lot of those guys already. And then there's a big Conroe tournament, and like it sucks because up here, I would have seen like the Woodlands and a bunch of these other schools that would have came through.
Yeah.
And like, I'd just like, all right, I don't know, I'd be able to kind of get an early look at them and maybe go back later in the year. Now it's like, well, no, you didn't get to really knock out as much as you thought it would. I did get to see Copperas Cove, the third game. What was that, Friday? And man, it was like at that point, everybody was just beaten down by the weather. It was tough. It's hard to make, like, I don't know what to make of, an elite 2022 prospect, hitting against, upper 70s pitching. Like it's, I don't know what to really do with that, but, got to see Travis Sanders move around. I mean, he looks the part physically. There's certainly some bat speed there for sure, but it's difficult to evaluate those guys in that sort of setting. And I did see Brandeis again. Jalen Flores had another strong game, and they've got a second baseman that hit leadoff for them. Drew Saucedo, he was 4-1-8 down the line from the right side. Kind of a unique, like, you don't often see this. He's not tall, like he's short, but he's a long strider. And he gets up to top speed really quickly. And he played a clean second base for them, had some good confident actions. Definitely needs to get a lot stronger physically. There are times you can see with the way the bat speed that it's just, you just got to get stronger, but puts the ball in play a lot. And I think he knows who he is, puts the ball in play and gets down the line. I was texting with Eric Jupe this morning, his coach there. And he said that, he had a ball at Silva earlier last week and beat it out. Like, that's one of the best shortstops in the nation.
Dude, that video, I think we tweeted it from either, I don't know if it was from the main account or the Texas account, but Jalen Flores is smooth. Like,
yes, that's the word. That's the word for him.
It's so easy. Yeah, you can see him
smooth.
throw, and yeah, I was impressive. I hadn't seen him move around since he was a freshman. Like, I mean, obviously it wasn't live, but the video of that I liked it. Send it to.
Yeah, I feel like I feel, now that I've seen him a couple times, I feel great about where he is on our list. And so much of this process of like rankings or whatever, like, it's just constantly, I hate to use this word, but it's fluid. Like, I saw some people kind of getting on Twitter about Cole Phillips, like, I told you guys, like, Cole Phillips is a completely different pitcher now than he was in the summer.
Right.
Like, he's transformed his body. He's added more efficiency to his delivery. He's throwing way more strikes. He's throwing way harder. Like, that's a different guy. Like, you can say, okay, I think this was going to happen, but you didn't know. Like, it's not the same guy. Like, those sorts of things, like, it just goes to show you over the course of an off season, a few months, like, guys at this age can really, really change a lot. And if they kind of know what they need to do in terms of their deliveries and stuff and things like that, and they really go to work on it, they can make huge jumps like that. And, and that's what Cole Phillips did. So yeah, if I'm looking at my list right now, like, no, Cole Phillips is not, I think we have him 11th or 12th. No, he'll be way higher the next time we do a list. But, it just goes to show you that, everything's fluid. But like a guy like Flores, like, getting eyes on these guys again, seeing the way they move, seeing how their bodies have changed, seeing how they play the game in that sort of competitive setting, you gain a lot of really valuable information. It's just like, yeah, okay, that's exactly what I thought it would be. But yeah, he's really, really smooth. I mean, it's like little stuff, like, seeing a guy like him, the way his hands move and how soft they are, and he, like, when they're throwing down before the inning starts and he gets the ball and he flips it behind the back to his second baseman, like little stuff like that, like, it's just kind of those little mannerisms and things. It's like, yeah, like, you just have a different kind of way with your actions in the way you can handle the baseball in your hands and everything like that. And I still haven't seen him swing and miss. I've only seen 2 full games, but he puts the bat in motion a lot. And he makes contact at a really high rate. I think the next step for him will be he's so good at making contact, and I feel like his hand-eye coordination is so good in the way he tracks pitches. I'd love to get S2 data on him, because I think that mentally, the way like he tracks stuff is at a really high level. The next part for him will be kind of condensing that box to say, okay, I can wait for my type of pitch to drive all the time, as opposed to, yeah, I can get to this pitch and put it in play hard. Maybe waiting for that one you can try to yank over the wall more consistently. But I haven't seen him swing and miss. And he puts the bat in motion a lot. And I think that's a really unique thing. You know, there aren't many guys at the high school level that you can look at and say, man, I feel like he's going to make contact at a really high rate. So, but yeah, you mentioned the word with him. It's smooth. I mean, everything he does on the field. And, you know, who was it that mentioned, was it Sean Allen when he said he looks for top step guys?
Yeah.
Jalen Flores is a top step guy. I mean, it's freezing cold. And there he is on the top of the dugout, you know, yelling, encouraging his teammates. Like, there's no cockiness to what he does. It's just a lot of really confident, energetic, you know, love for the game and competing with his teammates and stuff. And you can you see that. You see these types of things when you watch high school games. They typically stand out.
And which team, who drafted him?
Oh gosh, you know, I'm gonna mute #Team Bish on Twitter. I'm gonna mute it so I can't see it anymore.
Come on, I've even been giving you credit on some of the Team Dustin guys, but no, hey, the one thing I think, you know, that you could see in just a few short clips is he looks like he has that just innate sense of timing. You know, like he's the guy that's gonna not rush and just, you know, like Brandon Loy had, just beat the ball. The ball will beat the guy to the base every time by a step, you know, no matter what it is. And he just has that feel for it. But
I haven't seen him yet like really unleash a throw, but you can tell that, like you said, like he has a strong arm and he puts what he needs to put on it to beat the guy. But I'm looking forward to the time I hopefully get to see him just like get in the hole and just unleash a rocket, because I think there's some really big arm strength in there.
Yeah, that's for sure. See any of the college stuff this weekend? There was a lot. There was a lot. There was a
lot. I was looking at the D1 baseball updated top 25 today from our buddy Kendall Rogers, and our man Tommy Tanks. What did he do? He hit 3 more homers this week. He's up to 8? Like,
no. He is at least 9.
9?
Yeah, at least 9. Yeah, he had 9 by Saturday.
Let's look at the stats here.
While you're doing this, while you're looking for his stats, I'm gonna rattle you off something.
Oh my god, his OPS is still 2.062. He's hit 9 homers. He has 29 RBI in 34 at bats.
That's crazy.
Oh wow.
All right, 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, 6 innings, 9 strikeouts, 7 innings, 14 strikeouts, and 6 1/3, 11 strikeouts with 1 earned run. Can you tell me what those 4 numbers are? Can you tell me what those 4 numbers are?
I'm not. No, I'm not going.
That is the
I'm not going.
College pitching staff. Tanner Witt, again, my only guy to give up a run. But no, he was great yesterday. 9 Ks. Pete started the weekend off good. Went a little bit deeper in the pitch count than he usually does, but you know, still got out. Chaz Martinez last night struck out 14 in 7 innings.
That's pretty good. That the Team Bish arms are going to get a little test this week.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
something's got to give in that Tennessee-Texas matchup, because what's Tennessee averaging, like 17 runs a game? It's stupid.
It's crazy. And I want to see if that guy with the big crowd at Minute Maid on Friday night
hits 105
for Tennessee. Yeah. It's funny. I saw like there's just so many big performances again, but you know what goes to show you in the college game, it's just baseball in general. Like you see a team like Long Beach State go all the way across the country and beat Mississippi State at home, which never happens. Then they go home and get swept at home by Sacramento State. Like there was a lot of that this weekend. A lot of teams that really played well week one got swept against the quote unquote lesser opponent.
Right.
And vice versa. Some teams that didn't play well week one turned it around completely and played. Which would you, if you were a coach, which would be better to you? Playing well week one and just playing awful week two, or vice versa? Which would you prefer if you had to pick?
I'd prefer week two because it means my team responded to week one. If the opposite happens, it means my team didn't respond well to week one.
Right.
Like that to me is what's so impressive about this Texas start is they haven't had one of those games yet, like, I know one of the midweek games was, the defense was a little sloppy, but they haven't had one of those just like blah losses, like they play all 9 innings all the time. And for a team with as much preseason accolades as they had, I found myself wondering, like, I knew their culture was good. I knew their player leadership is good, but you never know until these guys start playing how they're going to handle all that. And that's what's been impressive to me about their start is you can look around across the country and you can find teams that have had that game or that weekend for that matter. And the fact that they haven't had that yet, and you watch them and they just play the game all 9 innings. They play, they make I was watching the game yesterday and, Ardoin picks off that guy at first base and they blow the game open. Like they keep playing, like, and you give them opportunities to win a game and they take the opportunities. But no, like I as a coach, I would much rather play well in week 2 than week 1, because it means that my team responded to whatever happened in week 1. Like it would frustrate me if but that's like you said, it's college baseball, it's college sports too. Like it was a predictable letdown situation for a lot of those teams that surprised people in week 1, and then in week 2 they had that letdown type thing. Like the best teams are those ones where you can kind of get that even mental approach throughout the course of the entire
it's the experience.
Yeah, it's huge. The experience matters so much. Like Murphy Staley's not much of a pro prospect, if at all. But that's a guy that can help a good college team win a ton of games, because you just put him in there. You know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get from the competitive standpoint, from a mental approach standpoint. Like the great college baseball teams have a bunch of guys like that, to where like they know how to play and they know what's required each game and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of interesting results around. It's going to be an exciting season for sure, because Arkansas, that like looks like the freshman arm they got, that was a Hagen Smith kid. I mean, he threw the
from
heck
White
out
House.
Yeah. Is he from White House?
Yeah.
Was he a big time guy? I don't seem to. I mean, I didn't really pay attention closely until this upcoming class, but
yeah, he was.
I mean, he looks like a dude for sure. But
no. I'm sorry. I'm not White House. He's from Bullard. He's from
Bullard. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I knew there was a connection because I saw White House played Bullard. Yeah, he was a Bullard guy. But yeah, no, he's had some big performances. Stanford came in and looked pretty good this weekend. Yeah,
they're really good.
Yeah. I'm excited for Coach Esker and pitching coach Thomas Eager. Those are 2 of the best dudes in the game. Really good guys. And obviously Tommy Nicholson helped build that roster, and now at UC Davis. But yeah, that's a fun group, man. They didn't give up a run yesterday. they shut out Indiana and Arkansas.
That's in the extremely impressive, man. I'm feeling for our Iona Gales right now. Have you seen how they started the season?
Well, I know what happened against Tennessee. I don't know what they did week 1.
They opened at Old Dominion and lost 2-4, 24-0, and 19-1. Poor guys, man. Talk about playing through some adversity. They opened with that, then they went to Tennessee and lost 27-1, 29-0, 12-2.
It's funny, like talking about that and the consistency. I think that's what I like. Lucas Davenport's been the same guy both times I've seen him.
Yeah,
right?
which
And like,
that says a lot to me.
Yeah, I mean, the weather has not been particularly good either time that I saw him, and he just goes in there and fills it up with the fastball.
Yeah.
And like, kind of like we talked about last week, those guys that aren't afraid to throw it in there, I think people are just surprised that, that you can just pitch with a fastball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I wish it wasn't that way, but usually guys will learn. But when you got stuff like that, like throw your fastball, make them hit it, make them earn it.
Did he get swings and misses on it?
Yeah.
He did?
He got some swings and misses. It's not straight.
Yeah.
He throws some heavy fastballs in there sometimes.
That's what it looks like. He's kind of got that like different kind
it's
of
repeatable for a guy his size too.
Well, that's the thing is, like that's, your first question when you see a guy that size is, okay, can he repeat it? And he does. And it looks like it's got some angle to it and some life to it. But yeah, I always like the guys that throw hard and know they throw hard and will pitch off their fastball at that level. Once you get into pro ball or college or whatever, it's going to be a little bit of a different game. But right now, like, can you pitch with your fastball? Can you beat guys with a fastball that should beat guys? And plus too, like, I'm not a development guru by any means, but I think as you go up the ladder, it's easier to tweak your breaking stuff in that shape, in those designs and grips, than it is to fix a fastball that doesn't play very well. Like it's, typically, I mean, you see guys at the pro level, like, the fastballs don't typically change a ton. Maybe it's an approach thing. Garrett Cole started working way up in the zone when he went to the Astros, and they kind of started that revolution with the four seam. But you always see guys that are kind of changing shapes and grips and everything else with the breaking stuff. But I like the guys like that they beat guys with their fastball and they challenge guys with their fastball, because it's their best pitch. That's what they should be doing. Sometimes there's no need to dip into the full arsenal. Selfishly, we want to see it sometimes. Okay, can you throw a changeup? What can you throw? Can you finish off a guy in a 2-strike count with a breaking ball? But I think it says a lot that you've seen him twice in less than ideal pitching conditions, and how early it is in the season. And he's already doing that. Speaks very, very high. He's a guy that we're going to have to take an extremely close look at putting in the 55. I mean, at this point, I think he's got to be in there.
Yeah,
he's got to be in there.
I mean, there's no way there's 55 there.
And if we would have seen him in the fall, with that Blue Jay scout team,
what's funny, like I said, like the difference in that game was that they came out ready, and Lovejoy had one bad inning, right? Like, I mean, they hit a couple guys and made an error, and that was the difference. But and like, I didn't feel like Prosper got complacent because they had a lead, but they definitely jumped out to that lead and had some energy early, and just got out and kept that lead. I mean, that's what you can do when you have the arms that they do. They had they started with Davenport, went 5 innings, then an inning to Billings, and then Austin Rogers closed it out in the 7th. But Lovejoy made some noise in the 7th. They didn't make it easy. Those last 3 outs always the hardest to get, but they put some good swings on it. Like I said, that Aiden Smith crushed that ball to left center, and Jacob Devaney made just a great play to go run it down. But which I did film and get on. I haven't gotten good enough yet at like being able to track balls in the outfield without the net getting in the way, which I tried to get one on Friday, and it's like, I've got my gloves, and like, I'm trying to hold the net with 2 fingers and film. And it's Jeff can legitimately do it one-handed. Like, he legitimately does it.
Go watch Jalen Flores over there, and Tracy Warren, who does a bunch of video stuff for him. I'm just watching him maneuver, and it's like, man, you're way better at that than I am. Like
we said, it's a young man's game.
It is.
Past 5, we're old.
It is. Yeah. It's but yeah, I mean, like you said, Flores is certainly smooth, but yeah, it's, it says a lot this time of year who comes out ready to compete and play and stuff like that. And it can go a long way for sure. But I'm glad you've gotten to see Davenport Davenport twice. And there's a couple of senior arms that are on my list I need to go see soon and kind of see. And because I think the pitching we're kind of seeing across the state, like there could be some movers and shakers from the pitching side, guys making a jump and kind of turning some heads and things like that, kind of forcing their way up the list, or definitely on the scouts radar and things like that. I know there are a couple guys in the Houston area that are turning some heads that didn't really enter this season with much hoopla or anything like that need to get down and see at some point. But yeah, we'll see how the schedule works out this week. The tournaments are great, but they're also a pain because you kind of want to be 9 different places at once. You just got to tell yourself, all right, I'm just gonna have to miss some of these guys and try to get the best, most talented matchups as possible. So
yeah, it's a puzzle piece, well, it's a puzzle, and the pieces hopefully fit together.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at my Team Dustin college guys much recently. I'm assuming my hitters are doing pretty well. LSU has scored a ton of runs. They actually haven't hit a bunch of homers, which is kind of surprising.
They got midweek loss to Louisiana Tech. That was
when you run it, you just don't get to go down to Ruston, Louisiana and leave with a victory. Like that's not at the Love Shack. At the Love Shack, baby, you got to watch out. They'll put it on you for sure.
Yeah. Trey Morgan's been good for you guys. Fincher, I think, has been good. Daly is off to a little bit of a slow start. Kennedy got hurt on Friday. Looking at your lineup, Nixon's been good.
Nixon has been good, yeah. Fincher's got a 3.27 ERA, but he has a 15-1 strikeout to walk ratio, which is why he's on the club. He doesn't walk guys. He gets those swings and misses. Daly's kind of starts kind of surprised me a little bit, but man, some of the plays he made defensively late in that game Sunday, like him and Faltini just make difficult plays look really, really easy. That they shouldn't.
Faltine with the game-winning hit, Team Bish.
Yeah, he's swinging the bat. What are his numbers like? He's been swinging the bat.
He's had a couple of good games.
It seems like when I tune in that he's at least had one big knock at some point.
2 RBI.
That's a bummer about Kennedy. I hope it's not serious, but I mean, I think
he could have played yesterday.
Yeah, I think he's off to a 435, 536, 565 slash line. Yeah, that'll work for sure. Silas is having the season I thought he would.
Yeah,
he had really bad batting balls and play luck last year.
He did. No doubt.
He was way better than his numbers. Feltine, 276, 364, 552. He's got a homer already.
It's funny. I think him and Jalen Battles are very similar.
Yeah, I think that's
they both hit in the 8 hole for their teams, which is crazy.
Yeah, it just speaks to the type of depth. I mean, here's the thing about Texas is they're 8-0 and Skylar Messenger hasn't quite gotten going yet. Mitchell Daly hasn't quite gotten going yet. I mean, Daly has 9 walks already compared to his 4 strikeouts, which is encouraging. Yeah. I mean, those guys are gonna hit. I mean, I'd be stunned if Mitchell Daly doesn't hit 300 this year. I think those guys are gonna hit. But the pitching numbers are just stupid.
4 earned runs in 8 games.
That's incredible.
I think Alabama's good. I
do too.
Surprise some people. They had some arms.
Too. Yeah. I mean,
the win to both teams' defense, like the weather definitely played a factor because there was a handful of balls that in a normal would have been out. But Alabama just couldn't get that hit when they needed it on any of the 3 games. Really, I mean, got the 1 solo home run off Tanner, but any food places you're looking at hitting this week?
Depends on where I go.
I think I might try to go somewhere tonight.
Depends on where
this afternoon.
Depends on where I go. If I end up going to Houston, I'll probably have to go to El Tiempo at least one point.
Ooh.
That's my jam when I go another. I mean, yeah, this Houston event is loaded. Baylor, LSU, Texas, OU, UCLA, and Tennessee. I mean, that's a really, really good weekend college event for sure. I mean, the LSU lineup, Texas pitchers, UCLA. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, it just kind of depends on where I go. I'd like to, if I go to San Antonio, like find a place I've never gone to before, and like tacos, food, whatever. Just try something different. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the district schedule because we'll be able to plan ahead much better. It's like, okay, I'm going to this game on this day at this time. Like that's like, as opposed to tournaments where it's like, well, I need to be here and here and here and here. It's like driving all over the area to go maximize as much talent seeing as we possibly can. But
well, that said, so I'm gonna see the Arlington Martin Flower Mound Marcus game on Thursday, and they're supposed to have a famous Warrior dog at the concession stand.
Ooh, Warrior dog! I like.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's Brooks. Brooks is the one that put me on that one, but I've heard about it from a couple different people. So I may have to give that a try on Thursday.
Yeah, Warrior dog sounds promising for sure. But yeah, we've got to upgrade. We've got to step up our food game. So far the only feather in my hat is going to Huruska's on the way back from Katy. Need to find more coffee shops. I did find there was a Hawaiian based coffee shop near Tompkins that I went to. It's okay. I'm not a big dark roast guy, and Hawaiian style is very dark roast.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but it was like, drove by and I was like, hey, you're not a chain. Let's hop in here and see what you got. Yeah, more of a medium light roast kind of guy. So, but it was all right.
All right.
But let's hope that we get some good news on the Major League Baseball side today, because I'm starting to get extremely frustrated with this process and the owners and everything else. But they're about to jump into some meetings, so let's hope we get some good news by the end of the week. But I don't know when we'll record another one of these. Just kind of depends on where we are this week and watching games and everything else. But hopefully to knock out one relatively soon. But if not, we'll have a ton of guys to talk about again on the next episode of the 5-Tool Baseball Podcast. So we're publishing all these on YouTube. We've got a bunch of player highlights on YouTube. I mean, I can't even keep up with all the videos we've got on Twitter and everything else and Instagram. So make sure you're following us there. Podbean.
Oh, hey, for people that are listening, I started, and I sent you this, I started a Twitter list. Never really done that before, but from all of the high school team Twitters and head coaches, I've created a list that if people want to follow it,
is it public?
It is public. And it is called, for those, it's actually been really helpful on schedule. So there's a lot of good schedule stuff, and then updates also. Got some decent video, but it's called Texas High School Baseball Twitter.
Okay.
And high school is HS, but I follow that, or I created that, and looks like we've got got some followers on it. So I think
some of the coaches, the lister is so handy, man. I mean, I put them on TweetDeck and then in their own column, and it helps out a ton. Helps stay organized and kind of keep up with what's going on and stuff like that. But yeah, the lister clutch. I need to actually
it's Texas HS Baseball Twitter. So there's 38 people following it. So
hey, there you go.
Yeah.
We're learning
this. Stuff.
Yeah, we're learning. We're learning for sure. It's in some areas it's a new world for us, but follow the lists, follow our coverage, follow the podcast, subscribe, leave us a nice review if you want to on Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for getting us over 14,000 downloads. Until we talk to y'all next time, we're going to go watch a lot of baseball and hopefully be much warmer, and stay safe. Take care.